some sketchy shit. Doo-dah, doo-dah, hope I get away with it. Oh, the doo-dah day.
Hey, how's everybody?
Good evening and welcome to Stew at O'Clock.
Y'all called me while I was trying to eat.
You think?
I got 2 more bites. Just ignore me.
Well, sorry about the delay popping up on the screen, but
All right.
I went and got my beer and was about to sit back down. And all of a sudden, Billy the cat wanted back out the door. He'd been laying back here under the wheels of my chair all evening.
Well, your cat's probably mad because you didn't bring him back a beer.
No, he had a bowl of food on the floor. And quite frankly, he's too young to drink beer.
Not in cat ears.
Not in cat here. Yeah, he's about 2. Anyway, he made a mad dash out of the chain link fence and started chasing a stray cat back into the woods and came back limping. Yep. I'm hoping this will teach him to not start any more fights.
Bit off a little more than he could chew that time.
Yeah, that time. He's already learned not to mess with the grandma cat because she will definitely mess him up. She don't take nothing off nobody.
That was good.
Good. Glad to hear it.
It was thrice baked potatoes.
Okay. That's a new one on me, but
Like leftovers. Like you baked a potato, forgot to eat it, baked it again, forgot to eat it again, and then baked it again.
Oh no, it was thrice. It comes in a little tin. You buy it at the Walmart deli.
oh yeah,
And
I've seen
it's
that.
already been cooked twice. And then you put it in the oven for 20 minutes. And
You got it at Walmart, right?
yeah.
Then I was right. It was a baked potato that they didn't sell, and then rebaked it and didn't sell it, then rebaked it and finally found some fool to sell it to.
No, but you've seen these advertisements for like Factor meals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Factor meals?
Yeah. FACTOR.
There's 2 or 3 brands of them now. They send them to you. They're not frozen.
Oh, they're prepped meals, and you just
pre-prepped. Yep, never frozen. You're supposed to only get as many as you can eat in about 2 weeks' time before they start going bad in your refrigerator. But you just pull them out, put them in the microwave, and chow down. And
Well,
apparently
Walmart,
they're pretty good.
Yeah, they're decent. Walmart has their own brand of it now.
Okay.
So we started buying those. You know, 2.5 minutes in the microwave, and you got a meal. That's, not preserved to death.
Yep. Although with our microwave, it's about half power to the one that we used to have. But Lindsay bought it because it was stainless steel and not because it was high power. So we both had to relearn how to use the microwave because the settings we've been using don't work.
Yeah.
We went from a 750 to an 1100.
We went from a 1500 to a 750.
Ugh.
Yeah. Something that would normally take a minute now takes 3.
Yeah, well, this thing, a minute 47 will pop a bag of popcorn. Donna goes, we've always used 3 minutes. That was with the old one.
You go right ahead. You eat the burnt popcorn. I don't want to smell it.
Well, that's just it. You got no choice. It stinks up the whole house. I go in the hallway and said, did the dog shit in the floor or did you make popcorn?
No, she didn't make popcorn. She burned popcorn.
Oh.
Oh, heavens.
Welcome to whoever popped in. They just threw an instant like, oh, it's Trelana. Hey.
Hey, Trelana.
Trelana. Is it Lane or Lana?
Send her an invite. Send her an invite.
More the merrier. Joe Bachman's already gone to bed. I'm surprised she's still up. She may be just watching on her phone
she
in
was
bed.
watching TV. So.
Do what?
Dawn's watching TV. So
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I hated that I canceled Netflix because I lost 2 seasons of Cobra Kai. They did it to themselves. They ran me off.
Yeah. Lindsay keeps asking me, you still watch Netflix? You still watch Disney Plus? And I go, yeah.
Well, I caught Stars on a special. You get a year for $25. So I wasn't going to pass that up.
Well, Lindsay said she's about ready to delete her BritBox account because all the shows she watches on there are not like she remembered them as a child. They're all infidelity and extreme violence and all kind of other weird shit. And I'm going, well, honey, you don't have to watch those. You can find something else. He goes, well, it's Emmerdale. I mean, if you're going to stay a fan of it, quit complaining about it. She already wants to hire herself out as somebody that does closed captions that actually knows how to spell things.
Well, the problem is, you know, those closed captions.
Yeah, they're all done by AI now.
Yeah.
It shows.
I love my oldest sister to death, but the only way she'll text is voice to text.
Oh, Lord.
And the communications over the last 2 weeks, because of everything, I would respond back going, I have no clue what that says.
Yep. Well, it's almost as bad. I text somebody and then they send me a voicemail or some kind, whatever the messenger
the voice
version
recording.
Yeah.
And
I'm going, oh, okay.
I'd rather have that so I could halfway understood what she said.
Well, I mean, it just means I've got to turn the volume back on the phone because everything except the alarms and the rings are turned off. Um, and Lord help me if they send it on the iPad. I've got to figure out which button is the volume control again and turn it up because I keep that turned completely off. That's the only way to keep from being annoyed by Facebook and other channel videos that are set to autoplay. And every device you've got, turning off autoplay is a totally different process. There's some of them I still haven't figured out. So, well, good news today. I did get my Rubbermaid tool shed to put all my charcoal and coal and cast iron cookware in for the outdoor fire pit and stove. They're all going to be in Tupperware to keep spiders out of them.
Mm.
But yeah.
Well, before you put anything in there, just hose down the bottom of it with some good pesticide.
That'll last about an hour around
No,
here,
they-
especially where it's sitting. I'm going to have to go tomorrow and get 9 of the 16 by 16 flagstones to put under it to raise it up out of the mud.
I'm trying to think. Is it spec? I'd have to go down and look in the garage.
Spectricide.
Spectricide makes this stuff. It's indoor, outdoor, and perimeter defense, and you can spray it around the edge of your house. That stuff works miracles because the way Barry keeps dropping sugar every time he tries to put it in his coffee, we used to have ants everywhere in the kitchen because of that. So I cleaned everything up with bleach real good one day and put that stuff down, and I haven't seen ants since. Unless we leave the window open. And then I might get some ants crawling through the screen. So.
Yep. We get some try and come up through the screened-in porch to get to the bowls of cat food. So Lindsay's just got in the habit of giving the cats about an hour or two to eat and then going out and picking up the bowls anyway, whether they're empty or not.
You may want to watch. I guess you're talking about putting all that stuff in totes.
Yeah.
Look real close on the totes because a lot of them have a little vent hole.
Yes, I've run into that problem. That's why I have some of the leftover foam earplugs from work.
Duct tape.
Well, just these little orange rubber plugs. They do just fine. I've got a plastic shelf to go inside too. It ought to be just about the right size. It won't be too long, but and hopefully it's not too deep. But the shed's pretty good. We've got another one that I keep actual tools in, and it's on the outside of the chain link. And Lindsay came up with a bright idea, which I thought was an excellent idea, to put the new one on the inside of the chain link. And I'm going to get like 4 carriage bolts and drill holes through the backs of both of them and just bolt them together so that the chain link is in the middle. And I got
that way when you get the next big windstorm, instead of blowing the shed away, it'll get the fence too.
No. That thing's down pretty well. The last tornado that came through and whipped my little barbecue grill cover over the damn fence. Gave me an excuse to disassemble the bent parts and throw it away and save the trim and the glass shelves that somehow did not get broken. and put them into the one that I built myself out of landscape ties and 2x and stuff like that.
Well, y'all remember when we were live and that tornado hit here in town? That ran right through my son-in-law's aunt's backyard. I mean, in her backyard.
Mm.
There was a garage on either side of her property. The garages were gone. All the water was sucked out of her swimming pool. They didn't have to replace the shingles on her roof. That's the weirdness of tornadoes.
I know. We had one go through the neighbor lady's yard, 2 driveways away from us, and tore up her roof, tore down this big metal barbecue patio that came with the house, hopped the road, took the top out of an oak tree across the road from us in the sheep farm, and then took off for parts unknown. Didn't do nothing to our place.
Now the funny thing was, we had a tornado that happened on the Easter Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
Years ago, we had a tornado run through just about the same area of town on Good Friday.
Mm.
I was out working for the city at that time. We were picking up, and this one guy had a John Deere tractor out in the front yard, wailing on it, trying to get the axle to bend back down, the front axle. We said, so it, bent your John Deere up. He goes, no, didn't bend my John Deere up. I just found it in my dining room.
Dang.
I don't know who it belongs to, but it's mine now because he just took out the French doors I put in 2 weeks ago.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
There was a bass boat missing. Bass boat and trailer. They ain't found it yet.
Yes, I know.
Because we were told to, keep an eye out for a bass boat strapped to a trailer. None of that was found.
I
Yeah.
guess not.
We got a feeling that I don't think the bass boat was there when the tornado came through.
Mm. Probably wishful thinking.
Mm.
He had pictures of it in his driveway from a couple days beforehand, but it was gone. Bass boat ain't been seen since.
Have they checked any of the local lakes? See if it's got different serial numbers on it now.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah. Oh.
Well, we may get a little one of those. I don't feel uneasy about this one. That storm I felt uneasy about.
Yeah.
So that's why we was alive. I'll never forget the weather guy. Well, we lost Chris. I mean, he completely went away. John, you remember when Paul Bears goes, "Oh, that doesn't look good."
There he is.
Yeah.
Woohoo.
Yeah, he's like, that doesn't look good. David Carney goes, what? He goes, I see a debris echo. That's a tornado.
Plus, I got a little fur ball that keeps wanting to put her paw on the keypad.
They'll do it.
she's being rather needy at the moment.
That's
Of
because you're
course.
talking and she thinks you're talking to her. You know, she doesn't
No.
realize
I'm not talking
she
to
didn't
her.
realize there's a screen with people on it. You know,
She just likes the fact that my lap is available for her to lay on.
And that you're not paying attention to her.
Oh, I'm paying attention to her. I'm rubbing her head and petting her, but
She still wants to play with the keyboard.
yeah, my Roku was updating earlier, and she was wanting to play with the little circular thing that shows it was updating.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, my male husky is upset with the new orange cat,
Mm-hmm.
the one with thumbs,
Mm-hmm.
because he laid his tennis ball down and the orange cat walked over, looked at it, took both paws, picked it up, and you can see his thumbs wrap around it.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes hopping off with it. I'm going, why do we not have cameras running all the time?
because they might catch something you don't want to show anybody.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, I need to get a
And a
camera
lot
that
of
looks
people
up the
don't get to see
driveway to
that.
let me know when deliveries are being made.
Mm-hmm.
I'm tired of standing there with the front door open in the midwinter time,
Mm-hmm.
looking out through the storm door.
Yeah.
UPS cut out their delivery tracking system. You know, where you could watch the truck that your packages were on.
Mm-hmm.
Because if it stopped anywhere close to the house, people were
Mhm.
running up to the truck going, I need my package.
Yep.
And the way my route is they'll come down a road near us, hit a little neighborhood, and then stop for lunch at the grocery store right below the house,
Mm.
and then go to Saudi Daisy. You know, it make me mad. You know, my package is sitting,
Mm-hmm.
you know, less than a mile from the house for half an hour to half hour to an hour,
Yeah.
and then I see it take off towards Saudi Daisy,
Yeah.
20 miles up the road. I'm going, damn it, guys, you were right here.
But the truck wasn't packed that way. They had to get the other stuff out from in front before they can come back and drop your package off.
Well, I understand how it works. Is they'll come through, the route goes out to the farthest point, you know, makes deliveries all the way out to the farthest point, and then work its way back.
Mhm.
And when the truck's empty, they're back at the spot.
Yeah. Oh, that reminds me, I've got to find that lock to put on the doors of the new shed. It's around here somewhere.
Well,
Had a bunch of books fall off the bookshelf because I had the volume on the stereo up too high. And a lot of stuff got covered up.
Oh, you're like, I was thinking about, just put a bolt on it with an extra wrench and, you know, torque it down, dare them to get in there.
Nah, this is just regular padlock.
Yeah.
And
Well, that made me think of what happened at Daytona on inspection. A crew chief two crew chiefs have been removed from Daytona property.
Hmm.
They were using unapproved bolts to bolt stuff together.
mm-hmm.
They were using tungsten steel bolts 3/4 bolts
Mm-hmm.
all along one side of the car
Mm-hmm.
on the lower end, getting the weight down low
Mm-hmm.
where they needed it. And for some reason, NASCAR went to check it out, and each one of those, it's just, basically supposed to be a grade 8 bolt, nut
Mm-hmm.
bolt, bolt about yay long. Dan, you know about how much that would weigh, right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe 7-8 ounces. These things weigh 2 pounds.
Wow.
It'll keep you from getting too much air underneath the car as you make a left turn at 200 miles an hour.
It was, I mean, it was genius. And the thing was, they didn't have a specified bolt until
After this was found.
right before it was found, because they found one laying out on the track.
Mm.
So then they got to looking for him.
Yeah.
I mean, Dan, can you imagine leaning over to pick up what you think's just a little bolt, and the damn thing about flips you over?
Yeah.
Especially on a 33.5-degree track.
Like,
Well, I mean, to be honest, when they put the bolts on, there wasn't a rule against it.
yeah.
It's just when they found out these are a whole lot heavier than the normal bolts that we would recommend, then they made a rule about it.
Well, that was like they have a special race called the All-Star Race in Charlotte.
And
Hendrick Motorsports went, and they called it the gray car.
Mhm.
This car went and was built in, the rule book has like a gray area.
Mhm.
Well, they pushed it to the edge of the gray area.
Mhm.
Everything.
Yeah.
Jeff Gordon lapped the damn field.
Yep.
You remember that? The T-Rex car?
I've heard about it.
Bill France Jr. called Ray Everham, the crew chief, into the hauler after the race. He says, I need you to pick up that phone right there and call Rick and tell him that car's illegal. He said, Bill, we built this thing by the rule book. It's not illegal. He says, it will be in the morning.
Mhm.
About like the SR-71 pilot that flew down the ramp at Sacramento Airfield on Memorial Day weekend. Well, on Memorial Day,
Wow.
they asked, he asked, can we do a flyby? Tower goes, absolutely. He said, wheels up or wheels down? He said, wheels up and burners. Okay.
Oh,
You asked for it.
He said, we're going to run down the road. He goes, the ramp's clear to do it. But here they come by, full burner, just under the sound barrier.
Mhm.
Boom! Peels off, heads back to their base. Base commander is standing there. He goes, well, that's pretty cool. Base commander's back to greet us on Memorial Day. And he goes, how you doing? He wasn't smiling.
That's because he had to leave the house on Memorial Day.
Mhm.
He said, do we have any rules about flying down, doing flybys on the ramp at Sacramento? No. He says, well, I expect one on my desk at 7 a.m.
Ooh.
Write the rule.
Y'all did it. Y'all write it.
Yeah.
And I don't want to hear none of this. We asked for permission stuff.
Yeah. And it's probably like, it better not be wasting my time. It better be good.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the pilot telling the story said several years later, they had a flight from Newark back to Sacramento. He's a full, he's an airline pilot.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the air traffic controllers, one of their little things is they get to fly free.
Mm-hmm.
But the only thing they had available was the jump seat in the cockpit. In sachets this pretty little thing. And the pilot was the one of these macho toughy guys. Of course, the SR-71 pilot was flying co-pilot that day.
Mm-hmm.
And he's talking about all this. She said, Sacramento, she was in Sacramento. He goes, Sacramento? He goes, how long you been in Sacramento? Oh, I've probably been in Sacramento 25, 30 years now. He goes, oh, were you working the day the Memorial Day weekend the SR-71 did the flyby? She said, oh, yeah, I was. That was me. I worked that. I was sitting next to the guy that gave permission for all that. He goes, I was the pilot. You were? And he goes, she said, you scared so many people. When you went by, there were people diving under the chairs. And I know John's heard the story. Was I close to telling it right?
Yeah, a little long-winded, but yeah.
Well, so was he.
This wasn't the same guy that was doing the LA speed check story,
No.
was it?
Yeah.
Oh, this is a different one. What was
SR-71. There'll never be another plane like it.
Oh, yeah, there will.
Probably already is. They just
Probably already is, yeah.
Yeah, I keep seeing YouTube videos. Oh, they just revealed the SR-72, and oh, they just revealed the SR-95, and I'm going, no, they didn't. You're taking footage from a video game and trying to pawn it off as a real deal.
Yep.
Boy, NASA's actually testing what could be the next SR-71. The X-59.
Ooh, yeah. I don't remember that well enough.
It's
it's a test bed for supersonic technology where they're trying to keep it from making noise when it goes through.
The one with the long pointy nose.
Yeah. The nose is so long and whatever that the pilot has to fly it on a monitor.
Well,
Which current video technology makes an SST nose obsolete. You just have to have a long, thin nose now. So.
Yeah, don't even have to have that drop down on the nose anymore. The one that Zach was talking about was commercial. The XB1 or whatever.
mm-hmm.
That is a commercial test bed. What NASA's fixing to do is everything.
What,
It's part
commercial
of
military and all that?
Yeah, it's part of DARPA's actually part of it.
Hmm.
Of course, they say DARPA technology is 30 years ahead of what we get.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's 30 years ahead of what we get told about anyway. By the time they announce they've got something, it's already been flying for 2 decades.
It's 30 years ahead of anything the military can afford.
Yeah. And people go, how can you afford? I'm going to steal the line from the movie Independence Day. You know, how does the military get all these budgets? You really think they pay $800 for a claw hammer and $1,000 for a toilet seat?
Yeah.
Those add up quick.
Yeah, real quick. I'm gonna have to call it a night. This is being very unstable on my end. So
Oh, I'm sorry.
it was good seeing all y'all.
That's good to see you.
Yep.
Of course, I was told I have to go down to Trade Center next weekend, next Saturday night.
Oh, yeah, the one in Chattanooga.
Yeah.
Okay, I understand.
Oh, Chris, you know the lady that sells the metaphysical stuff that rolled around in a wheelchair
I
at
think
conventions?
so.
They
Yeah.
talked about wanting to come to Halicon, but she, they were always pushing her around in a wheelchair. She passed away this morning.
Oh man,
that's too bad.
Yeah. I wondered why she wasn't at Chattacon. Now I understand.
yeah. Oh well, bummer.
Yeah. It's got a Cubster all tore up.
Yeah.
But yeah, condolences to her and the family.
All right. See y'all later.
All right. Good night,
All
Chris.
right, Chris.
Good night. Bye.
He looked like he didn't want to go.
Might not want to. Well, you'll find out next Saturday.
Yeah, I don't want.
You don't want to go either.
No, I don't want to be down there. I want somebody to say, "Hey, I saw him." No, you didn't. I was at somebody's hotel room.
Well, I'm hoping that we get somebody else that can come and feed the cats so Lindsay can have her vending table at Halicon.
Yeah. She looks like she has fun while she's there.
She does. She has a whole lot of fun. It's just that she knows we can't leave outdoor feeders out for the cats for a 4-day weekend because possums and raccoons will climb the chain link fence and eat all the food, and the cats will be hungry. And the indoor cats won't get fed. I mean, sure, we could have the big feeders for them too. But
I got a simple idea. Put all the cat food up on a shelf. Pile a lot of the big dog food down there, and leave the dog out in the backyard. I guarantee them coons and possums won't get in there.
She has to have the dog in a kennel. These are the rules by which I have to live. I do not question them.
That almost sort of tells you the time I was raised up in, huh?
Yeah. Well, the thing is, because it's a German Shepherd, she's afraid somebody will drive by, because the dog is friendly, she's afraid they'll steal the dog and put him in a dog fighting ring.
Mm.
No, it happens around here.
Oh yeah, I understand. Well, I'll tell you, I got a dog I may put in a dog fight ring. Son of a
Sound like you need to put the cat with thumbs in a dog fighting ring.
no, we got my little tan dog Scooter.
Yeah.
The Huskies want to play with him, and they'll play, but when he's done, he'll chew their damn face off. And they're just laying there like, ah. What is it, John? You look excited.
Interested. They're showing an old battleship around the turn of the century, the last century. And they've got the big birdcage towers with the observation deck up on top. And this is one of the old coal-fired battleships. And the smoke is just rolling out of the stack. And these poor sailors in their white uniforms, there's about a dozen of them up in that observation platform.
Right in the smoke.
Oh, it ain't even funny. It looks like they're dying of smoke inhalation up there.
Well, the last conventional aircraft carrier was retired, is in the scrapyard now.
Eisenhower, yep, finally made it down to Brownsville. So.
No, Kennedy.
Yeah. Oh, Kennedy. What did I say?
Eisenhower.
Eisenhower is the one. No, wait. Truman's the one that just got hit.
Yeah.
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 They showed the damage on it. It's not that bad. But
Yeah. I believe it or not, the Nimitz class is starting to retire out.
As soon as they get these next two aircraft carriers built. Speaking of which, I do have a minor complaint, but I know why they did it. So,
What?
the next two aircraft carriers coming out are going to be named after G.W. Bush, president type, one each, who was in the Navy and flew airplanes off of aircraft carriers. So that one's rather appropriate. The other one's named after Bill Clinton.
A draft dodger.
Yeah, who never served.
Well, technically, he did serve. He was the commander-in-chief of the armed forces. Wasn't he governor of Arkansas, too?
Yeah.
That would have made him commander of the Arkansas National Guard. So technically...
Have they got anything named after Jimmy?
Yes.
Good.
The most secret, sneaky submarine in the United States Navy is named after Jimmy Carter. Because he was in the Navy. He was a nuclear power plant specialist. I think he served on submarines, but I can't
Yes,
swear.
he did.
Yes, he did.
And it's a modified Seawolf class. And the reason it's modified is it's got the section with all the extra super secret squirrel spy stuff on it for going out and like tapping undersea cables and fun stuff like that.
Oh, speaking of super secret spy stuff, I got the final editing suggestions on the Tom Darby book today, and I went through and made a few more changes. Evidently, there were some things that I had missed in the last edit. Just scroll past them, or my changes didn't take. So I tried again, and I've got that shared back with Three Ravens, and Hillbilly said in the email, I'm looking for the rights to that cover photograph you suggested, and I got it from a copyright-free, website, and I've seen it being used on YouTube video thumbnails, and somebody else has got a book out with the same photograph on the cover, and I'm going, well, hopefully you'll find the same exact one, but we shall see. Which means I've got one more that will be handed over to an editor sometime soon, and it's going to be almost 80,000 words. So that's going to be a little bit of a chore.
I need to get my writing stuff back up.
It's hard work, but it's rewarding.
My
Just knowing
problem,
that you've got something finished.
yeah, my problem is dialogue. I can't do dialogue worth of shit.
We know.
Well, you should be able to. I mean, you're exposed to so many people with different accents and things. You know so many different people, different walks of life.
Write it the way you'd say it.
I do, and
If you're going to pay an editor, might as well give them fits.
well, I've sent stuff to and they're like, "Dear God, how do you?" I write it like I see it. Yeah. Oh well.
Like I said, it's a very rewarding thing to realize that you've got something finished.
Either that, or I might just start writing anthologies.
You'll write everything in an anthology by
Yeah.
yourself. Just use a different name for each story. That's been done before. There was a couple that were put out by some of the big print publishers back in the 50s and 60s. And every story was by the same guy, but he used a different pen name on each one.
Oh, who is it? Charlie Grant. He was like the regular artist guest of author or author guest of honor at Chattacon for years.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes he was master of ceremonies, But they took him out to dinner as they normally do, and while they were out there, they found out that he had been writing romance novels under a female name. He had a female persona for writing these romance novels. And they found out about it. Yeah. And they had they had one of the other author guest of honors who was one of these big names that I can't remember, just like I can't remember now. But it was like, Ray Bradbury or somebody like that. I can't remember who it was. But they played a joke on Charlie as they gave Ray Bradbury one of his books. And when they went to dinner, he says, "Oh, I finally found this book I've been looking for from one of my favorite authors." And it's one of the romance novels he's written. And Charlie's over there like, really? He says, "Oh yeah, I love these. They're just so well written." I don't know who she is, but she writes her romance novel, and she really understands men really well. And just kept it going on all night about, that's.
As I understand, Ray had a.
I'm not. Well, I can't swear that it was Ray Bradbury, but it was somebody that big,
somebody of that quality.
Larry Niven, Ray Bradbury, Isaac Asimov, somebody of that stature. So it was,
people do have a sizable humor bump if you're lucky, and they're not stuck up and egotistical about being a world famous writer. Thankfully, I'll never have that problem.
Oh, I'm sitting here looking. Oh man, they got him. the Huntsville show that we're going to.
Mm-hmm.
They said a great special guest announcement. One of the big Star Wars people. I'm thinking, all right, yeah, and I get to looking. Timothy's on.
Pretty cool. You don't like him though.
Yeah, he's a prick. I met him. But they got a decent lineup. They got Weird Al, Ernie Hudson. You know who that is, don't you?
Yeah.
Shatner's back. They got Walter Koenig. Let me find it. Yeah. Walter Koenig, Denise Crosby, and Aaron Gray.
Wow.
And they've still got 10 more to go. But they've also got Lou Diamond Phillips. Who else? Alan Oppenheimer. If y'all know who that is.
Well, I know the last name quite well.
Falcor.
Never Ending Story?
Yeah.
Okay.
Who else? Some people that you would know. Jamie Presley.
Yeah.
Jason Lee. Vincent D'Onofrio.
D'Onofrio.
D'Onofrio. Yeah. Who else? Jason, Joey Lawrence, if you remember that. Tori Spelling. And the Queen Consort of Rock and Roll.
I'm sorry, I can't think of any of them that are still alive except for maybe Tina Turner.
No, Queen Consort. Not the Queen of Rock and Roll. The Queen Consort of Rock and Roll.
Somebody's boyfriend. Somebody's girlfriend. It doesn't matter.
Well,
Especially not nowadays.
Ex-wife
Oh.
of the King of Rock and Roll.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's right.
She would be the Queen Consort, right?
Pretty much, I guess so, yeah.
Don't have any title of anything other than that.
Well, she's done some acting too. I mean, seriously.
But I hear she's a
Well, I mean, she hasn't had the happiest of lives.
What I'm just wanting to see is where they're going to put Shatner and Koenig in the autograph alley.
On opposite sides of the building.
One would hope. Of course, they had Takei and Shatner there, but they had
handlers built like Lou Ferrigno.
Actually, he was right between the two of them when they had Sulu Takei. Oh, I'll never forget. I didn't realize how Koenig was a very serious private person.
Yeah.
And Jeff, do you remember when he was at something for Chattacon or something here in town, and he was being interviewed on the radio,
I'm still trying to figure out who Jeff is.
or Jeff Styles,
Oh,
local radio guy. He turned to ask, he's just making conversation. So he said, I guess back in, in those days of that, you had the women throwing yourself all at you. It went.
my.
Actually, Takai was there too, and he went. And Styles went, what? He goes, I am a married man. I've been happily married for at the time, he said, over 50 years. I didn't fool around with other women. They said Styles almost crawled under the desk.
Well, I imagine George had a few of them throw themselves at him. Didn't do him any good, but
yeah. And I actually talked to George Takai, and I said, man, I love your website. Oh my, but I've quit going to it. And he says, why? And I said, it's 90% clickbait. He went, well, I have to pay for it. I said, not when I have to go through 6 ads to read one article. It's too much.
Yeah.
And his husband, Brad, goes, I'll look into that. Didn't change. I think they added about 8 or 10 more ads a story
per page. Yeah. Well,
But at least, I said, I loved all your work, especially the Twilight Zone episode.
Oh, I'd love to get him to autograph the book that I've got about the internment camps when he was a child. That was an area of history I had no idea existed till I got his book, and then looked into it, and then nowadays people are making YouTube videos about that. But
yeah, well,
it was highly educational.
Yeah, but at least we treated our intern people better.
Well, yes,
to a point.
demonstrably better, but still, it was something that shouldn't ever happen to start with. But
again, how do you know?
Paranoia is always a factor in politics. Yeah, how do you know? I don't know. I guess you'd have to follow the historical record and see if anybody that was ever put in one of the internment camps turned out to be a spy for somebody else.
What would be so funny is if, somebody they put in was a spy for England.
I'm sure things like that have happened. Somebody pretending to be a spy for somebody else, actually working for MI6 or one of the other agencies that don't exist, technically.
Well, I hear there's a section of the CIA that doesn't exist.
I'm sure there's always been at least one that doesn't exist officially. Matter of fact, I mentioned a couple of them in the book that's coming out soon.
Well, as long as we don't hear during one of your shows.
You don't hear that if you hear boom and the flashbangs go off. Next thing you know, you're on the ground. A bunch of people.
Oh, believe me, I made all this shit up out of my own imagination. I can't think of anything close enough to actual history to get me in trouble.
Well, one would be surprised that it has happened.
Of course, I always like that scene. If you ever remember, it's the initial scene. It's in the very beginning of the TV series The Prisoner.
Yes, I remember
Where
it quite well.
he resigns from that spy agency, goes home to clear out all his stuff, and while he's in his house clearing out his stuff real quick, and he's only been in the house for like 30 seconds. Okay. Somebody comes in, sticks a hose underneath the door, and starts filling his house full of
Through the mail slot. Yeah.
through the mail slot, fills his house full of sedative gas. He walks in the living room wondering what that sound is, and like thump.
And every episode began with him waking up and looking out of the blinds of his little apartment in the village.
You know, no offense, but considering everything they gave him in that village, that don't sound half bad. You know, that's the hell of a retirement plan right there. Let me tell you.
One of the better episodes was the one that it had a different opening. It was a Western all the way to the very end.
Oh, John, there's a movie on Apple Plus now. The Gorge. That's one you need to check out.
The Gorge.
Which
Yeah.
gorge would this be?
The one nobody talks about or it can't even be seen by satellites.
Okay.
And America, Western world has one side of the gorge, Eastern world has the other side of the gorge. The Russians and all that. Their only job is to make sure everything stays operational on their side. They do not contact the other side, and nothing is allowed to come out of the gorge. And it's a 1-year stint. You have you're by yourself for a year. You check in once a week to report everything operational. If something's not working, you wake up the next morning and there it is outside the door. They don't even know what country they're in. And it's usually snipers that get the job.
Just to make sure nothing comes out of the gorge.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Is it a fictional story?
Yeah, it's a fictional story.
Okay, that sets my mind at much more of an ease there. I've seen too many episodes of the Fat Electrician telling you about things that you never really knew about before, and by the end you go, "Hey, well, that was highly entertaining, but I wonder what kind of a watch list I'm on now for watching the episode."
Well, the Manhattan Project's part of Waffle House history.
Yeah, I know that. I've seen that one. Yeah. You're going to take this truck and this map, and you're going to drive on this route without stopping the truck for anything except gas. When one of you gets sleepy, pull over briefly and swap sides, and the other one's going to sleep while you drive.
Or if you can, swap while you're rolling.
In a pickup truck, that ain't always.
Well, it wasn't a pickup truck; it was a deuce and a half.
Oh, it was.
They were hauling nuclear bombs.
Well, nuclear material to build bombs.
Yeah.
Well,
you could do that in a deuce and a half.
I'll take your word for it.
Yeah. Driver just stands up, keeps his foot on the gas and steer. Other guy slides underneath him.
No, in a deuce and a half? Nah.
Yeah.
You they got the old manual throttles. So you pull the throttle handle out, lock it in place, and you don't have to worry about the pedals. You just, somebody holds the steering wheel while you move out of the way and they move into the way.
Basically, it's cruise control, old-fashioned way, mechanical cruise control.
You just had to have your hand real close to that throttle handle just in case. Because you'd have to unlock that thing and push it forward in a hurry.
Yep. That's one thing people didn't understand about old-style tractors. There wasn't a gas pedal. You had a lever under the steering wheel, and you pull it down, and you go as fast as a tractor can go. Thankfully, it's about 20, 25 miles an hour, just going down a paved road, not hauling a load of any kind. If you're actually doing something, you could have the throttle in the same position, but you're only doing about 5 miles an hour at the most.
Well,
Because you got a plow in the ground or a disc harrow or something.
yeah, John used to deal with this. Bulldozers run wide open.
Pretty much.
Mm.
Of course, wide open's like 5 miles an hour. So,
Yeah, but they run wide open, and to slow down, you push the clutch in. Each track has a clutch. And to slow down, you'd push a clutch in, or to turn, you'd push a clutch in. If you wanted to go left, you pushed in the left clutch. Or was that right? Left? Or does it work backwards?
No, you let the clutch out on the side you want to go. Or, yeah.
Hold the clutch in on the side that you want to spin in that direction.
Yeah, you want to spin into. Sort of like traco brakes or backhoe brakes, where you can unlock it, where you can control each wheel of the.
Yeah, our tractor had that too.
Yeah.
You could get to the end of plowing a furrow, pull up on the hydraulic lever. As soon as the plows got out of the ground, you could stomp one brake and turn the wheel. That thing would make a 360 right there, and you go right back into plowing the next furrow, going the opposite direction what you did. Or you can go in squares, depending on what you're doing. Those things were great for laying out. What are they called? I forget now. It's been so long since I was a farmer. The ridges in a field to prevent erosion, but there's several of them.
Berms.
Well, that's what they are, but Daddy had a different word for it.
He had a country word for it.
He had a Tennessee word for it. Yeah. So basically, you just plow one way, then come back exactly the same track, plowing the other way, so that the berm got higher in the middle. After about 2 passes in each direction, you had your for want of a better word, you had your berm there, and it had already been packed down by the tractor tire on the upper side of the mound, so it wasn't going to wash away.
Dan, you need to look up Junkyard Digs on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
This guy does rescue revivals, where he goes out and finds a barn find car or truck or whatever, and he lives up in Iowa. And one year he turned his cornfield to a soybean field.
Well,
and the only way he could get his soybeans in is he didn't have a truck to haul the soybeans. But one of his neighbors did. Only thing is, it's been sitting in a barn for 10 years. So he had to get it running. Well, first he had to get it unlocked up.
Yeah.
Then Then he had to get it running, and then he had to fix the brakes in it. Then went and followed the combine around as it was, spitting the soybeans in, took his soybeans to market, and took the truck back to where he had it.
Yeah. Except for it being a barn find. I'm very familiar with that. Although I never had to follow the combine around in the field. Daddy always had me parked someplace close to the edge where I wouldn't get the damn truck stuck again. And when you've got an 18-foot bed dump truck with about 8 tons of soybeans on it, you don't want to drive it through a mud puddle on the edge of a field. You'll find out right then that there's a reason why there's a tow hitch on the back of the combine, because it can pull that truck and the soybeans out of the mud, even if you got yourself in axle deep. And it doesn't take any effort at all. You just drop that PIV, the position infinitely variable transmission, down into let's go as low as we can go. And that thing would just pull it right out like it was pulling marshmallows off a stick after you roasted them.
Oh, so it had great grandma low.
It was a PIV. It was a V-belt transmission. So as one part of it collapsed and brought the belt up, the other part of it would expand and bring the belt down, and it worked just like a normal transmission, except there weren't any gears. It was just if you needed second and a half or third and 3/4, you could get it. All you had to do is hunt around in there till the pulleys got in the right place and that V-belt was in the right spot.
Well, that's what they actually do for transmission in the cars now. CVT. Constant variable transmission.
Yeah.
Yeah, but what was funny is the guy with the combine showed up. He goes, well, let me see if they're ready. He just reached over, snatched one up, crushed the soybeans, chucked all the husk off. Yeah, they're ready.
Yeah, pretty much. If it's dry.
Oh, they were dry.
And it tastes like this would be real good if you roasted it with some butter. They're ready. Only thing you had to pay attention to was if there was too much moisture content, you get docked on the price.
Yeah.
You had to have a place where you could dry it. Just spread it out. If you had a big pile of them, you'd have to go in there and shovel it so that the bottom was exposed to the air and the top got covered up. But once you had the moisture content down where you didn't get docked for any extra.
Yeah,
After that, the only thing you had to worry about was weed seed content, and they would come out there and test that before you dumped your load too.
Yeah. He goes, yeah, this stuff should be ready because it was, about 3 foot high soybeans.
Mm-hmm.
He goes, yeah, this field, I figure they're dry because this field was 6 foot high before it started drying out on him.
Yeah. Now,
I guess up there their humidity's not as high.
Yeah. Down here, humidity is something you got to worry about. Even if you've got the soybeans stored somewhere in the barn, if you've got an old farmhouse that nobody's living in and you just fill the floor with soybeans and, like I said, go in there and shovel them, turn the pile over, sort of like tending a compost pile, but it's all stuff you can sell.
But yeah,
it can still get messed up if you shovel it on the truck to take it off, and it's a very, very humid day. They'll soak up water from the air.
But yeah, I figured you would like watching those revivals of those old cars. And there's another one called Vice Grip Garage.
I've heard of that one.
Yeah, I love watching him because he makes up new words. The spark plugs, he calls them sparkulators. Spark plug wires, lightning hoses.
Yeah, I can see that.
The battery's a lightning cube, and there's a starter later. Fuel make it happeners, the fuel pump. And when he goes to prime, pour a little gas in one to, prime it to start it. Yep, there you go. Oop, too much. Perfect.
Yeah, we only had one that was gas. We had the other two, they were diesel. The most annoying thing was the oil, the air cleaners on them set in an oil bath with a big filter on top. The filter get dusty. You could take a air compressor and blow that off. But every day you had to empty every day you were going to drive the tractor, you had to unsnap the little oil bath, pull the filter and everything down, wash the filter in kerosene to get all the crap off of it, drain that quart of oil out, put a brand new quart of the cheapest oil you could find in there, put the filter back together, and then you could crank it up. But that was an everyday thing, especially if you had wheat or oats or rye or sometimes even corn would get a little dusty. Soybeans weren't quite as bad. Daddy figured out a trick for the air cleaner on the combine. He just keep quart of oil in the dump truck with a plastic lid over it, like you keep it from spilling if it got knocked over. He'd go and wet down a rag with his oil, or sometimes he'd even use transmission fluid, and climb up on the stack above the air cleaner where you had this extruded metal top on it, and wipe that down with oil so the dust would stick to that instead of getting down into the air cleaner and give you a longer life on your air cleaner. Of course, you had to wipe all that stuff off about twice a day.
Yeah. I was watching. It was for a diesel, but it was what they used an M80 to clean the filter, or not an M80, little weaker than a M80, but stronger than a firecracker.
Yeah.
They put that filter out. They light it, put the filter over top of it, step back, and you go, poof, and you see this black poof out around it.
Quite honestly, I think I'd rather use the air compressor and the kerosene. At least that way I got to have a second cup of coffee while I was waiting on everything to dry out. Oh, Lord. And I always kept a paperback book in the dump truck. Of course, that was nothing unusual. I had paperback books scattered all over the house. If I had to go downstairs and watch TV with the family, I'd have a paperback book there. If I had one in my bedroom, there'd be a Reader's Digest in the bathroom. Had one in the pickup truck. Had one in the dump truck. If we went someplace, I had one in my hip pocket.
Where we worked, we had a track hoe. The starting procedure is you would get in, open all the doors, get the windows up and all that. You get the rag on the right, ether can on the left. You put it by lay the rag by the air cleaner, then go in and start it. But they said don't spray ether into the the air cleaner to get it start. Spray it
It'll
on the rag.
backfire. Yeah, if you spray it in the system, it'll backfire. If you put it on the rag and hold it up to the air cleaner,
It
it's
gets
dilute
some more.
enough. Yeah. Now it's weird. The only bulldozers I've actually ever seen up close and personal, I never had to drive them. They didn't use two clutches to steer with. They had the handles like a
Yeah, it's not actually like a clutch. It's I know the term we used on armored vehicles is differential.
yeah.
Yeah, your differential steering, but it's similar.
Yeah, it was just like using a Bobcat at work,
Well,
except on the Bobcat you had foot pedals to angle the bucket and raise the arms and dump everything, but
and
you steered with the two handles.
some bulldozers even have two sets of steering. You have your slow steering and your pivot steer, which, like Joe said, locked up one side and let the other side go. So depends on the bulldozer.
Yeah,
That's so electric and hydraulic nowadays. I mean, I'm surprised they don't have steering wheels in the damn things now.
Well,
Next thing
Stephanie just
you know,
went
we'll have
under.
Tesla bulldozers.
Stephanie just went under a tornado watch in Huntsville.
yep. They ought to be just about out of tornado watches by the time they get over in our neck of the woods. Because, well, basically, it's after dark, and the difference in air temperatures are becoming closer and closer together, so there's not this violent movement. So that's still all the warm air from the Gulf hitting the cold air from the jet stream that came across California and the Rockies and everything, and it's still cold as all get out when it gets out here. I expect y'all will probably get an hour or two of rain and a little bit heavier winds than I get, and it'll go further east. Atlanta might get absolutely pelted. I don't know, but it'll get out here and the wind won't be quite as bad, and the rain will be about hour and a half, and it's going to start in about 5 a.m. So by the time Lindsay gets ready to go to church, it might not even be raining anymore.
Well, I'm sitting here watching. I just did the advance. Looks like the rough stuff's going to hit us about 4. No, Dan, it looks like it's going to be pretty strong at 6 o'clock in the morning, your end.
Ooh, well,
I mean, we're talking red.
Oh, I'm guaranteed to see that, but it'll be much thinner. It won't be miles long. It'll be just a little bit, and if no trees get lashed about too badly, I won't have to get out there with the chainsaw and try and dig something out, or have to call the insurance company and say, come put some new shingles on the roof if the tree fell on it. But about 9 or 10 o'clock, by the time I decide that I've had enough coffee and I need to go to Lowe's and get me some the concrete flagstones to put underneath the new shed, and then go in and get the carriage bolts to bolt the two sheds together so that neither one of them falls over. It shouldn't be any rain coming in except for maybe some scattered stuff following in behind the big storm.
You said Lowe's, and it just reminded me of the little video I posted a few minutes ago. Guy standing there at the Lowe's, in Lowe's. Attention Lowe's customers. We have ice at the front desk. Pedro, hey, Pedro, wait. And the guy's sitting there going, he comes back and he goes, PA goes off again. We've had a ice truck break down in front of the store, and they're giving away free bags of ice. If you would come up to the front desk, we'll give you some bags of free ice. Man, I'm sorry. I wasn't thinking. I wouldn't think you that way.
Got ice at the front desk. Half the employees disappear through the warehouse and keep running. That chain link fence has never been climbed that fast before. At least not from the inside.
I have been halfway tempted to stop at a construction site with a couple bags of ice, walk up and say, all right, everybody, the ice is here.
You'd probably get shot, Joe Dog. You damn sure ain't going to do that on somebody's farm that has a bunch of migrant workers. Because you will get shot. If not by a migrant worker, then by the damn farmer.
Farmer?
Yeah.
Damn migrant workers be too damn busy running. Did we just cross the line?
Probably. I believe you have violated some community standards.
Why? Did you get a warning?
No.
I figure there'll be one by Monday.
Assuming that they can even get bots to watch us. I mean,
yeah. Hey, I know one way to get bots to watch us. On the dark desert highway,
cool whipping a bear. Oh.
My God, that'll get us
banned. Yeah,
What?
They got some good lawyers. The only way to do it even quicker is to play a Beatles song.
And that's the record company. That ain't the Beatles.
Mm-hmm.
But Paul and Yoko own the library now, don't you?
Yeah. They bought it back from
Michael Jackson's kids.
Michael Jackson's estate, if not from Michael Jackson himself.
No, from the estate.
Okay, I wasn't sure of the time frame of that, but yeah.
Oh shit! We got to say goodnight, everybody, because we're.
Good night, everybody.
You ain't even got your stuff pulled up yet, have you, Dan?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Well, hit go. I'm hitting bye.
Okay.
Bye, everybody.
I have slept the surly bonds of earth and danced the skies on laughter-silvered wings. Sunward I've climbed and joined the tumbling mirth of sun-split clouds and done 100 things you have not dreamed of. Wheeled and soared and swung high in the sunlit silence. Hovering there, I've chased the shouting wind along and flung my eager craft through footless halls of air. Up, up the long, delirious, burning blue, I've topped the windswept heights with easy grace, when never lark nor even eagle flew. And while with silent, lifting mind, I've trod the high, untrespassed sanctity of space, put out my hand and touched the face